We all know the feeling. You reach for something you deeply want, a career milestone, a financial breakthrough, a clean bill of health, and reality responds with a definitive, unmistakable rejection. The door slams shut. Most people respond to this closure with submission. They bow their heads, defer to the logic of the situation, and accept the circumstances exactly as they are presented. We have been trained since birth to worship physical evidence. Society dictates if we can see, touch, or hear a limitation, it must be the ultimate authority over our lives. But physical facts are neither sacred nor permanent. A fact is simply a past belief that has already hardened into matter. When you look at your current circumstances, you are looking at dead history. Treating physical facts as the final verdict on your life misinterprets the basic mechanics of reality. It takes the shadow of a past event and allows it to trap you, ensuring that your future remains a carbon copy of your past. A tiny fraction of people respond to a physical limitation with a total, absolute refusal to accept its validity. Neville Goddard termed this state brazen impudence. It is an intellectual rebellion, an audacious defiance against the input of the five senses and the objective world. Brazen impudence operates as a quiet, unyielding mental insistence. It involves looking directly at a harsh reality and silently refusing to give it your consent. This mental posture has shifted the course of history. The founders of American democracy didn't wait for evidence that a monarchy would step down. They had no physical proof that their new nation would survive. They simply subjectively appropriated their desire. They believed the future in. Power lies in audaciously demanding that the world react to your inner assumption, rather than reacting to the conditions around you. Human suffering often stems from a single error in perception, treating the outer world as a master that dictates our internal state. The relationship is actually the reverse. The outside world is a delayed mirror, a slave to our internal assumptions. It has no power to initiate. It only has the power to reflect. To explain how this mirror can be forced to change, ancient parables describe a persistent widow and an unjust judge. The judge in the story fears no one and respects no human authority. When the widow comes to him asking for vindication, he repeatedly ignores her pleas. The widow refuses to take his silence as a final no. She returns over and over with relentless, brazen persistence. Eventually, her audacious bother breaks through his wall of apathy. The judge finally grants her wish. He does so not because he has found his conscience, but purely to stop her relentless, audacious nagging. This story maps the mechanics of an uncompromising, impersonal cosmic law. The unjust judge is your own subconscious mind, the very matrix of your reality. The subconscious is entirely impersonal. It lacks morals, logic, or any bias regarding whether a desire is realistic. The subconscious filters out casual hopes while absorbing persistent assumptions. It will materialize any idea, provided you are bold enough to hold it without accepting no. This perspective strips prayer of its association with begging or pleading to an outside force. True prayer functions as the audacity to adjust your internal assumption, insisting on success until your physical senses are overruled. Because the objective world is actually your consciousness projected into space, the subconscious must outpicture the exact likeness of your feeling. This mechanism compels reality to rearrange its facts in response to your most relentless mental demands. Moving from theory to practice requires treating this application as a quiet, profound inner rebellion. When you encounter a firm, undeniable no, whether through a bank statement or a personal rejection, the practice begins. You must refuse to argue out loud or fight the external circumstance. Instead, retreat entirely into the silence of your own mind. In your imagination, look directly at the situation and respond with impudent confidence. That is not what I heard you say. This immediate mental rejection acts as a psychological firewall. It prevents the external fact from taking root and becoming a permanent instruction in your subconscious depth. This mental override is the technique of revision, the act of mentally rewriting an event to fit the outcome you desire. If you were told no, you must physically hear the voice in your imagination say yes. You must reconstruct the dialogue to match your goal. Replay this revised scene in your mind over and over. Continue the loop until the scene takes on the sensory tones and the feeling of absolute reality. Anchor this practice by falling asleep while enveloped in the exact feeling of the wish already fulfilled. When this inner defiance becomes your natural state, the judge of the subconscious must yield. The entire outer world is then forced to rearrange its facts to confirm your audacity.